Alright, what the is up, YouTube? It's big fat fucking African duo here.
Big fat fucking African duo here.
No shot, dude! It's been quite a while since we've heard from this young man. We've been slacking on Pimp My Jeremy, and I thought it was time to do a little update to let you know how the boy's doing. And just we're gonna get into some real shit, okay? Pimp My Jeremy is all about goofy shit, you know, pretending like everything's fine, but the truth is, we all want to die. What you been up to lately, sir?
Working and working out.
Fuck yeah. This man, how much muscle have you put on? 15 pounds?
Like 15 or 20, yeah.
This motherfucker's going hard. And before we get into anything, I just want to say, I think it's safe to say at this point, Pimp My Jeremy is pretty much, it's ready to be done because he's already been pretty well pimpified. And I think the direction has kind of switched from the beginning.
Yeah, I think that a lot too, looking back. It's kind of like turned into its own like monster.
What?
You guys want to come up and grab a sausage sandwich?
Not right now, in a little bit.
Alright.
Thank you. You want a sausage sandwich, dude?
Dude, I'd love a sausage sandwich, dude.
All right, anyway, what are you saying?
We've just been putting it off for so long. It just kind of like happened in the background.
Yeah, exactly. We've been like trying to decide what we want to do next, and it's hard because we've like our mental state has shifted so much since it started that we don't know how to continue it. I have a really good idea that I think would be a good finale, but it's hard because when it first started, it was kind of like I was actually, I wouldn't say mentoring, but you know what I'm saying? Like I was actually putting effort into trying to help you along, and now it's not like that anymore. So it feels weird to do that on camera when, like, it's just, that's not like the dynamic of our friendship.
Yeah, I get that. It's kind of like changed over the course of the year. We've been friends at this point.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good transition. We should talk about how we met, because I think this is an interesting story that if you're just watching the videos, you don't get to see how this whole shit went down, and it's honestly a very interesting tale, I think. So, in short, how it went down is me and Jeremy went to school together. What grade were you in when you moved to North Valley?
I was in 8th grade.
So I would have been in 9th grade.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who this fucking guy was. I saw him one time when he first moved here at a school dance, and there was a dance circle, and he was wearing a full suit, and he got in the middle and he started going ham.
Dude,
and everyone,
that's where like everyone fucking saw me, and then I just like disappeared for years.
He literally fell off the face of the planet. He came in with a fucking boom. Everyone's surrounding him, screaming and chanting while he dances, and then fucking radio silence. Never saw this guy again until my junior year, or was I a senior when we started?
Yeah, we were in Mrs. Darcy's. We sat next to each other senior year.
Right. And I saw my friend Dan, who's been in some videos, and a couple of his homies were hanging out with this guy all the time. They made him a Snapchat, made his username PoonRipper69.
At me.
Add this motherfucker, add him up. He's on the prowl. He came up to me in the bathroom and was like, "Yo, do you want to go to Johnson City tonight and help me pick out clothes?" No, I did not have any recollection of this guy. I had seen him around a tiny bit, and I was like,
I just did it for like fucking shits and giggles. I'd even really consider how it would have turned out. He was just like, "Yeah, I'll bring my camera shit on, and maybe it'll make some good footage or something like that."
Yeah, I asked you. I was like, "Would it be cool if I made a video out of it?" Because you seemed like a fucking character, and you were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So that's the entire interaction initially. It was just going to be like a one-off video. I thought he would be an interesting on-camera personality, and boy was I right. That first video is so fucking funny, and looking back at it is like, it's like night and day. It's crazy how much you've changed in that 1 year.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot about it. I didn't even really recognize it until I went back,
And then
months later watching it, and
And
I
you
was
just
like,
see, it's like a skinwalker took over me, and now I'm like this different person, I guess.
yeah. I mean, you still have a very similar personality, but you're much more outspoken,
I
and
have the
you're
same like sense of humor, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, I'm more confident, and
you're willing to say things, and you're not like you don't hesitate based off how you think people are gonna react, which is great. But what was I gonna say? Oh, so after that video, I don't know, did we become friends like after that full on, or I can't even remember how it really
it was
happened.
kind of like more gradual, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it was I would be hanging out with Dan and them, and then they would invite you along,
yeah.
so we were just around each other more and more. And eventually, we kind of like split off from that group, just because I think we both had a problem with the way they were treating young Jeremy McSenbottom here, kind of using him as like what's the word? Like making a joke out of him, kind of. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I guess it's more like I don't want to start shit, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not on here to like call anyone out. I'm not gonna use names or anything like that. But I'm just being real about it. I think that is exactly what was happening, whether that was the intention or not. But
Yeah,
I
agree. I have no hard feelings about it at
Yeah,
this
yeah.
point, but I feel like I was kind of like hurting mentally putting up with the group, I guess, and I needed to go my own path for a bit, at least, mature a bit.
Yeah, and I remember talking to my girlfriend and Tim, the other real one, day one, and I was talking about how I thought that was weird. So then at that point, I started inviting you to shit all the time, and we would just hang out.
Yeah.
And it just, slowly evolved, and then all of a sudden we were like best friends, and I literally trust this dude more than pretty much anyone I know. You look like you just crawled out of the womb.
Did I?
Do you not know how to fix your hair at all?
No.
There's 3 people who I legitimately trust, and it's him, my girlfriend, and our other friend Tim, and that's pretty much it.
That's everyone I hang out with these days.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like I'm cool with lots of people, but those are the real ones right there. And it's just, I don't know, I find it fascinating how it happened, because when we first started hanging out, it was very like,
It happened so fast. It was like so rapid
yeah,
how he just changed just like that in the span of only a year, pretty much.
yeah. It was very strange, and I think what's even stranger is what happened just pretty recently. Like whatever, 9-10 months into us being friends or whatever. At the same time, I started getting into like religion and all this kind of like conspiracy shit about how I think the world is like designed to ruin us and blah 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 blah. I started talking to him about it, and then all of a sudden I find out this guy's been like, he's like a wealth of knowledge on this topic. He wholeheartedly believes it, and even beyond what I was aware of. But I think, yeah, what I realized is like the whole time, I think the reason I like kind of gravitated towards you is because you were literally like, you kind of like reminded me of me when I was younger, or just in general. Like, we're very similar people.
Yeah.
And I feel like you would not expect that upon initially meeting the two of us.
I agree with that.
But we hold very similar beliefs. And one thing I really appreciate about our friendship is that you are one of the only people who I feel like I can have a conversation with. And it's like, I guess like challenging. Like I feel like you're understanding everything I'm saying, and you bring things up that actually like make me reconsider what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of times with people, and this sounds kind of arrogant, but I'm being truthful about it. A lot of times when I talk to people, it's like I can almost like predict what they're gonna say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because like a lot of people just pick up thoughts of others on the
Yeah.
internet and
Yeah,
stuff,
exactly.
and they don't really develop it themselves.
Yep. Or it's even the worst when you know that like you yourself don't know much about it and you're kind of picking up shit that you've heard elsewhere
Yeah.
and then you start saying it and they say the exact same thing. You're like, damn, why are we talking about this? Neither one of us knows anything about it. So on the topic of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I'd like you to talk about what happened to you recently. Just go into it.
Yeah, so I've always been kind of like, I believed in God, but I didn't really worship him in the ways that I do now, I guess. Well, a couple weeks ago, I was laying in bed. I just woke up at like midnight, and I just couldn't go back to bed, so I hopped on YouTube, and I just started hearing these like voices inside my head of like God telling me that I was like worshiping Satan by practicing all of these evil things, like doing drugs and drinking and shit. And it just kind of opened my eyes, I guess. And I don't know, I've just like been, it was, I know it sounds kind of like schizophrenic, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's just been kind of a real revelation for me, I guess, about how I should be living in my life and how I've been kind of like, I don't want to say hypocritical, but shit, man.
I get entirely what you're saying, and I think first of all, honestly, there's a very good reason why it's said that humans should not try to play God and should not cast judgment onto others, because it is inherently hypocritical, because all sin is equal. Either way, you've gone against what God intends you to do. So if you try to tell someone else, oh, you're doing this wrong, blah 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 blah, it's like ye who is without sin should cast the first stone. But yeah, that is interesting. I think it's weird to see like the different ways that you can be like brought towards God. Because for me, I've told you before, it's pretty much entirely through Jeff. Oh, I'm gonna bleep that name. I forgot. I'm not supposed to say his name. But through the guy I worked with, and just him talking, not even trying to convince me of anything, just talking about his beliefs. And yeah, I think I've heard a lot of people say this. I feel like the only way to really realize it's real is when you realize the devil is real.
Yeah.
Seems like that's like a constant thing. As soon as you recognize the level of evil that exists in the world and the way it's like concentrated and used against you, it's like it's kind of impossible to not believe that there's some sort of opposition to that. Because there's good in the world, and it's like, where is that coming from?
And you don't feel him until you like experience it firsthand.
Yep.
You don't feel his presence, I guess.
Definitely not. And I think that's the scary thing about the modern world we live in, is that I feel like it's harder now to find than ever. But once you do find it, it's easier to stay on the path, because you are so constantly reminded of how like fake and like disgusting the world is, that you kind of need it, you know. It's like hard. It's harder to leave it behind, I feel like, than it is to carry it in some ways. But at times, maybe that's not true though, because there are definitely times where I start to fall back into like my old mindset, and I don't forget about God at all, but like
It kind of like numbs, I guess.
yeah, and you start to question it in ways.
Yeah, and you don't feel his presence as much either. Yeah. I get that a lot too. Like sometimes I can feel him, and then others he's just like not even there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard then to stay on the right path.
Right. So this is something we were debating about, and that I've been contemplating heavily, because I've been watching a lot of stuff about Christianity and God and stuff. And the biggest thing that like bothers me about the topic is thinking about the concept that the Bible is written by humans, and that humans are inherently broken, as we know, as the Bible says. So is it not a fair assumption to make that they would likely manipulate it in some way to serve a certain agenda? Now, I don't think that means that the Bible is bullshit in any way, but I do sometimes wonder if there's elements of it that, like, things that don't resonate with people, maybe is for a reason. Maybe it's because it comes from man, not from God. Because it's hard for me to say the Bible is the Word of God when God did not sit down and write the Bible. You know what I mean?
You think there's like a satanic element to it? Like they manipulated the Bible to mislead others, I guess.
Yeah,
Go
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you.
All right. I feel like that's more a thing with like organized religion. Like they manipulate the wording of the Bible and misinterpret its signs. I feel like the Bible itself it can't be corrupted because it's God's word itself. It wouldn't make sense for his teachings to allow his teachings to be corrupted, I guess.
Yeah, that is true. I think that's something.
It's like he believes in I'll let you talk in a second, but he believes in free will, but there are certain things that he'll intervene in, I guess. And one of those is making sure the people are at least able to understand his teachings, because like if he allowed his teaching
to be corrupted, it'd be like
no one could even follow him.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's one of the hardest concepts to wrap your head around when you're getting into Christianity, is the idea that like so-called facts and things, these are worldly things, and the only real truth is a spiritual thing. Yeah. It's something that you feel inside yourself and your soul, and that it can't be proven. That's like what faith is. And people are so without faith now, and I have lived most of my life that same way. So it's sometimes hard to like remember like everything is kind of like God's will in a way. Like, yeah, that's actually a very good point, that the word itself has power as well, because I think all people, whether they are practicing or even believe in any religion at all, I think the gospel has kind of power over people. Like they feel it in some way, even if they're outwardly denying it. It kind of hits something inside you. And so it is a very good point. So this is a good segue into my last video. He was actually a part of it, and but I wanted him to voice like his opinion on the shit I talked about in it, because I would say it got really real, bro. It got really deep as fuck, dude. And Jeremy holds similar views but not identical, so I'm obviously you're not gonna be able to remember everything about it, but just talk to me about that video and what you thought. You can hold it if you want.
I mean, I agree with a lot of it, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's like modern society, we weren't meant to live the way we do, and I feel like organizations or higher powers are taking advantage of that to corrupt us, I guess, and make us weak.
Yeah.
And it's very important that we fight back against, I guess the right word for it would be programming, basically.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And yeah, so
what do you think the motivation behind that whole thing is? Because I was talking to my mom about this the other day. I was like, obviously the surface level answer is to consolidate money and power and stay on top.
Yeah.
But what is the real motivation behind it? Because
they're satanic.
Right.
They want to destroy good.
Mm-hmm.
And destroy Christianity. And that's...
Yeah. It's interesting how I think everything on like surface level, like day-to-day interactions, it's full of gray area, but ultimately morality really is black and white.
Yeah.
Which is not a popular idea at all. People hate when you say shit like that. When
because
you put
they're always like, you're so close-minded.
Yeah.
And it's...
But the truth is, it's not closed-minded. It's just having a consistent belief. Because everyone nowadays is a fucking hodgepodge of like every random idea they see everywhere.
Yeah.
And they just want to take the parts they like and not the whole spectrum of it. I'm just as guilty of this. I always have been. Because you hear certain things and you're like, oh, that sounds so cool. That makes sense. And you hear it from this guy, and then all of a sudden you're an amalgamation of like 300 different religions, 200 different philosophies, and some fuckboy on TikTok who said some shit you liked.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't have belief. You just have.
We're
like,
very
ideas.
confused. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think people recognize the danger in that.
Yeah.
Because you can even hear it in conversation. People contradict themselves constantly. Like they'll make one point and then they'll make a point later that completely cancels out what they said before. I hear it all the time. Did you see the thing with Logan Paul talking to supposedly his best friend on his podcast and just like outwardly disrespecting him because he's a Christian and just being like, I think it's silly and you need therapy because you believe in Jesus and Jesus isn't going to do it for you and all this shit. Like, people, when they speak like that and are that, like, outwardly, like, I wouldn't say hateful, but just like that, they shut it down that quick. I feel like that is like undeniably the influence of the devil, especially since the Bible literally prophesizes that people will speak out against this. They will mock you for being a part of it. I mean, everything in the Bible comes true. It's very interesting.
It's very prophetic. And that's like another reason I believe the Bible itself hasn't been manipulated, because it's entirely true.
Yeah, that's true. I also think it's weird how people who actually have like a lot of knowledge and like could defend Christianity well and intelligently do not get put out there almost at all. I think Jordan Peterson is like the only person in pop culture that has gotten attention that is a Christian.
And it's because they hate him, dude.
Yeah.
They hate him, dude.
Everyone else who gets the opportunity to speak is like stupid and uneducated on it. Yeah. Because in that podcast, his name's George, is the Christian guy. I mean, I wouldn't say he's stupid, but he clearly was not well educated on the Bible, or at least he did not
the one that
convey
should be like
that way.
Representing us, I guess.
Right. And even beyond that, I mean, he at least didn't make Christians look bad, but I think a lot of Christians are so hypocritical and like they're trying to condemn people, like condemn gay people, condemn whatever. And the belief is never that these people should be condemned. It's just that this way of life will have its own consequences that will, happen in their life. Yeah. No one else has to be the catalyst for that. The whole point is that it happens naturally, and it's like a warning that if you're an adulterer, if you steal, if you murder, whatever, you create your own hell on earth. Yeah. And God is the catalyst for it. So this like idea that circulates that Christians are, hateful people and that they try to condemn or make people less than for holding different beliefs or for living whatever lifestyle, I think it's like ridiculous. And he made a good point about that, but he did not make a very good argument for why, I don't know, Christianity should be viewed as legitimate. But I do think it's weird, because I say in that video, the last video, about how I think all religions have legitimacy, and that as long as you're trying to live your life in the right way, you're probably going to heaven. Today specifically, I was kind of debating that again in my head, because I was thinking about the fact that, first of all, what religion is most spoken out against and is most acceptable to like hate on and mock? It's Christianity by far.
I think God favors Christianity the most.
Definitely.
Because you look at history and you look at how much Christians in particular have accomplished and how much their influence has spread through the Americas and Africa and all of Europe. And they've basically just become the dominant religion, and I think God favors them because it's the true gospel. Right.
Yeah, and I never really held that belief until I started thinking about it. And it's again where the negative is what shows you the positive in a way. I was thinking, why is it that this is the religion that is the only one that's acceptable to like completely shit on publicly and no one cares? If you said the same thing to a Muslim man and said you're fucking silly because you believe that, you would be canceled in a fucking instant.
Fuck Islam. Fuck Islam, dude.
gang shit, dude. Do you want me to cut that or leave it in? You don't care?
I don't care about that.
All right. Okay, hold it. What was I about to say?
We were talking about how if you talk to a Muslim and say their religion is
right,
they're gonna be like,
yeah. So it's kind of this is kind of like contrarian of me, but that's how I have most of my like epiphanies. Is I recognize what is the world doing, which I know I cannot trust, and that kind of points me in the direction. Like whatever they're hating on, I can probably believe in, and whatever they promote, I can probably know is evil, because humans in power are pretty much inherently evil.
yeah.
Humans in general are inherently broken, and that's an idea that is not liked nowadays, but it's the truth, and you can see it everywhere.
I feel like everyone can tell like that the people in power are definitely corrupted. No matter how partisan they are, they can, at the end of the day, sense that everyone's kind of fucked. You know, Bill Gates, he actually went to Epstein Island like 22 times.
Really?
Yeah, he did. You can look that up. You gotta wonder what he was doing over there to come back 27 times.
Yeah. And my mom was talking about he was buying up like huge plots of farmland and shit. It's like these people are literally trying to gain as much possible control as possible.
Yeah.
They're even they're branching outside of their supposed niche into just absolute global control. And it's like,
I think we've already reached that point, to be honest.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying like people who are just getting to the level where they would possibly be involved with the actual top 1%.
Yeah.
You see it starting. You see them starting to expand their repertoire or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And I feel like people wouldn't question it because they're like, oh, they're just trying to grow their money. But it's like they're already fucking billions of miles from anyone else in terms of wealth. Do they really feel the need to do that, or is there another motivation behind it? But
I think they're controlled by Satan, to be honest.
yeah, definitely. And I think the majority of the world, the world is run by Satan, to be completely truthful.
In this day and age, yeah.
Yeah.
Even like 50 years ago, that might not have been the case to that degree. I mean, like,
I think it was behind the scenes more then, and now it's coming out, and people are like blind to it. It's like in your face now, but people don't care.
I guess. I mean, like, I feel like the internet had a lot to do with it.
Oh, absolutely.
And like, a lot of people have been kind of like desensitized to actual evil, and it's not really something that people are surprised at anymore, and so they don't really counter it, and then it just kind of grew from there.
Right. I mean, there's so many aspects to break down. I couldn't even get into everything in that video because there's just so many different ways that this like spiritual attack has been launched. Like there are billions of different ways that they break down your mental barriers.
It's everywhere, man.
The internet has a huge part to do with it, but
fast food too, I feel like.
Yeah, food, fucking shit in the water, the promotion of drugs and alcohol, just culture in general, just like the way it's gotten kids to act, and that that plays as a form of pressure to lead you towards whatever. And they have all these things that make it seem like people in power care, because it's like they have anti-smoking campaigns and don't drink and drive and shit.
And all these energy-efficient green commercials that Amazon runs about cleaning up the planet. And then they just... I think it was Amazon. No, it was... I forgot the car company, but they recently just got someone arrested for suing them because they polluted the Amazon River to, like, the worst degree it's ever seen.
Really?
It was Chevron. Yeah, Chevron. There's this guy that represented Ecuadorian tribes in South America because their home was just literally destroyed by pollution.
Holy fuck.
Their fucking babies were, when they birthed them, they had major defects because of the oil in their water supply.
Oh my
and the trees were fucked. And then this guy came in and he was like, I think the quote was, it's like literal hell on earth over here. And he represented them legally in this lawsuit and won. surprisingly.
Really?
Yeah, but Chevron, they basically launched this campaign against him, and the CEO came out with a email to some of his employees, I think, saying their main goal was to destroy this guy. And they basically took all of his money. They put him in jail. I think they took his house.
How? How did they manage it? They like frame him for something?
No. They just had a lot of lawyers.
Damn.
And I feel like some judges were brought too.
Yeah.
So I feel like the justice system today is kind of like,
Rigged.
yeah. It's prison to me. I've gained this perspective recently. Prison's basically where poor people who act rich go.
Yeah. I think it's just...
I worded that like fucking awful, but...
I get what you're saying. Well, the thing is, the reason people are poor is because they try to live above their means, and it's because they're never taught how to properly use money.
Yeah,
And that's
true.
very intentional. It's why they have attacked the family in that way, because if you don't have a stable family, obviously they're not going to teach you how to live a stable life.
That too. I feel like they've really gone after like the father of family households, and that's really weakened a lot of America to resist, I guess, against what they're trying to do, because everywhere I go, everyone's parents are divorced, and it's like, I think it's really fucked with a lot of the youth. Like, my parents are divorced, and
Mine too.
in like half the school basically at this
Yeah.
point. And it's fucked because they're usually very lost.
Yeah. Yeah, divorce is kind of glorified because they talk a lot about how it was like a huge thing, huge like win for women, because women used to be kind of forced into getting married, and it was the only way that they could kind of advocate for themselves was by having a husband. And giving them the ability to get divorced gives them the ability to free themselves from an abusive relationship, whatever.
I feel like there's sometimes where that's valid.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand why my parents got divorced, but...
Yeah, mine too, actually. I'm actually glad my parents did.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a rocky thing. But really what I think it is that they're not only attacking the idea of it, but people's ability to maintain one.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, relationships are meant to be rocky, and they're meant to be periods where it's not fun and where it's not enjoyable. That's why they say love and relationships, they're a responsibility and their work. And that can last for actually very long periods of time. There's a YouTuber, I won't even call him a YouTuber, but there's a guy with a YouTube channel who I watch. I think I've shown him to you, the Cowboy Dry Creek Wrangler School. Have you seen him?
I feel like I'd remember him.
He's literally a cowboy, like, old dude, and he just talks about life. And he's like one of the wisest people I've ever seen on the internet. But he made a bunch of videos about his marriage. And one of the things he said is his dad told him, when you first get married, it'll be like super fun, super enjoyable, great time, until you hit like 5 years in. I think he said 5 years, or maybe it was 10 years. He said pretty much every 5 to 10 years, give or take, there will be a long period of turmoil where it's going to be very difficult and you're not going to want to keep doing it. And most people don't even reach that point. They give up as soon as there's any sign of like struggle.
Kind of hardship. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
that's another thing. Like, people don't want to go through hardship anymore, even if it's way better for them in the long term. Everyone's like a lot more self-destructive now, and they recognize it. That's the worst part. They know it's bad, but they still do it, and they don't really care.
What I think the ultimate difference is it's instant gratification versus long term.
Yeah, I feel like phones and the internet have a lot to do with that too.
Definitely. When it comes to marriage, though, I think it is dangerous too, because the majority of our generation has no interest in even getting married.
Yeah.
And it's not even necessarily about the act of marriage, but it's about committing yourself to one person and sticking to that, even when it's not fun, even when you know you could be out having tons of fun right now, fucking
Yeah.
a girl at night, getting drunk every night, whatever.
I feel like it's not just social. Like, I see a lot of people online want a family, I guess. A lot of the youth wants one, but they literally cannot afford it.
Yeah.
Housing prices have skyrocketed. I feel like that's it's on purpose. They don't want the youth to create stable families, I guess.
Right, yeah.
And
no, go ahead,
sorry. There's like this statistic I read that most people aged 18 to like 30, like half of them still live with their parents.
Yeah.
Because they literally can't afford to move out, and they're kind of like trapped under their like dead end job.
Yeah. And they also don't make it like we've created this idea that we're all too good to work a regular job.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, I'm waiting until my real dream takes off. I want to be a fucking YouTuber, man.
And it's like, the reality is, this is it. This is your fucking life, dude.
Yeah. You can chase that dream, but there comes a point where you need to recognize that either you have failed or it's going to take a lot longer than you expected, and you can't keep living off of other people in the meantime.
Yeah.
You need to recognize your responsibility as, in my case as a man, but in general as a person, that you need to provide for yourself and you need to build yourself until you have the ability to provide for others. That is like your purpose as a human. And your purpose is not to make shitty YouTube videos. Even though this is coming from me, as I'm making a YouTube video right now, you still need to recognize the truth of the matter, which is, art and creativity, these are all great.
Yeah.
They're a great aspect of life, but they're not everything. And it's such a fucking pretentious idea that's put out there now that's like, if you want to make it in this has to be your whole life. This has to be what you eat, sleep, and breathe for, is making fucking YouTube videos. It's like, shut the fuck up, you retarded bitch. Your life should not revolve around
any kind of work.
Yeah. Like, that's just nonsense. Like, to be a complete person, that is literally impossible. If that is going to be your only motivation in life, you are going to be miserable. You're probably going to end up killing yourself either on purpose or accidentally.
Unfortunately.
You can see it. You can see the evidence throughout the entire history of Hollywood. Every single person who dedicates their life to this in some form is miserable and ends up killing themselves in some way.
The market's so oversaturated with actors. It's kind of like most people don't make it, and then they just they're stuck working like fast food or something because they don't really have any more options.
Yeah.
And it's pretty unfortunate, especially because we have like a lot of shitty actors.
Yeah.
I haven't watched a movie in forever, dude.
Really? I
Yeah.
watched one last night. It was mad good.
Yeah.
It's called Green Room. It was so good. It was about this punk band who they went on. They were on a tour and they ended up booking this like shitty rural venue, and it was run by Nazis, by neo-Nazis, and
It's awesome.
they
dude.
play the set, and then as they're leaving, they accidentally witness a murder in this like back room. So then they're like held there, and these guys won't let them leave because they're a witness to this now. And it's the whole thing is like, it's so tense the whole time because they're just waiting to find out what's happening. They call the cops in the beginning, so then they like stage this whole thing to get the cops away, and then long story short, it ends in them trying to like escape, and they're like going through this venue, and they're like sneaking around, and there's people around every corner trying to kill them and shit. Only 2 people survive in the end, but it was a really good movie. It was kind of like a little bit corny, but for the most part, I really liked it. It's fascinating. Fucking brutal though. the very beginning of the violence, they're asking them to hand the gun over because they have it, and he reaches out and they fucking slice his hand all up. His hand is like hanging off, barely attached anymore, and they end up duct taping it. This is the most realistic part of the movie because this guy is the one of the 2 who end up surviving, and he's like fighting motherfuckers with his hand literally barely attached, just duct taped on. I'm like, bro, he would not be able to do shit right now. But other than that, it was good.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. But yeah, movies now suck ass. It's like 1 in 100 that are good. That's true of like most popular media.
Because like it's so corporate now. There's no like actual art related to movies, and it's
made with one very specific purpose in mind.
To make money. Yeah.
And to brainwash.
Yeah, that's true.
That's something I never used to recognize. I always knew that everything was a cash grab.
It's everywhere, man.
But the more I've started thinking about this, the more I recognize like the same fucking like
Message
agendas and ideas are in every movie. Yeah.
Over and over again. Yep. Man.
And it's honestly, it's crazy that people can't recognize it. It's just like, I guess they just think that's the right idea. That's what they're supposed to say. I mean, it would even if it was a Christian message that was being pushed, I still wouldn't want every single movie to be telling me the exact same thing. Like, that's just weird. It's just not productive. It's not the point of art. You know? The whole idea behind art is to show different perspectives. And when everyone is afraid to show their actual perspective, that's called tyranny. Well, there's another thing we were going to talk about that was going to be good. What was on that list? Spiritual awakening, how we met. Oh, the future of the channel I wanted to talk about. So, this is like the sloppiest transition ever, but it doesn't matter. What are we going to do with this YouTube channel, dude? Because this is something I've talked about a lot, is how I have no idea what I want this channel to be. I'm always overthinking because they say you have to have a niche and all this shit. But I got a pretty solid job now that I know is going to make me enough money to like get by in life and actually be pretty well off. So the anxiety about getting this shit going has kind of gone away. Not that I don't care about it anymore, but I feel free to kind of do whatever the fuck I want with it. And I feel like that will actually be more beneficial in the long run to growing it. So at this point, I'm not even attempting to have a niche. It's just whatever the fuck I feel like making at that time. And if you don't like it, suck on my fucking scrotum, son. But Jeremy's going to stay a part of it. Jeremy's starting his own YouTube channel soon.
Nah. This January, bro. I'm going to...
What's it going to be called? Just your name?
I don't know yet.
You should call it Sack Rocket.
Sack Rocket.
Rocket Sack.
Rocket Sack, dude. I'll be Red Rocket, dude.
Red Rocket Sackerton.
Red Rocket Sackerton, dude.
That reminds me... Oh, actually, no. I don't know.
Yeah, we were supposed to do, like, my shit with girls, I guess.
Oh, yeah,
that was
yeah.
another one.
Okay, so... We're just all over the fucking place right now, but who cares?
Maybe we should keep on, like, the future of the channel, I guess.
And then we'll go back to it?
Yeah.
Okay. So... Yeah, I don't know. I want to finish up Pimp My Jeremy. We're going to wrap it up. And Jeremy will stay a part of the channel, of course. But what I really have been feeling an urge to get back to is like filmmaking type shit. I want my videos to either be like mini documentaries with like interviews and shit about a specific topic of actual substance, or to be like a narrative short films, even if they're just like goofy shit. I want to get back into making skits like I used to make when I was 12, and I almost want to revisit one of those and recreate it and make it with like way higher production value. I'm so curious what it would be like, and with our two brains combined, and then we could also get Julian involved because Julian is actually really
good with
creative shit.
He's fucking Noah Fartin, dude. I swear.
Oh, we should talk about this too.
Right.
Who the fuck is Noah Fartin, dude? We are going to find your ass and we're gonna fucking obliterate you,
Listen,
dude.
man, I have no idea who he is, but we're gonna get to the fucking bottom of this, and we're gonna find out who you are. It has to be someone we know. So.
I feel like, I don't know, dude. I'm so lost on it. If you don't know about this, there's this guy who has been commenting on every single video talking about my flatulence, and that's none of anyone's business. You heard me? He's just like, I don't know. I have to say it's pretty funny the way he words it and shit. But he's literally just saying that I'm like a domestic terrorist who uses farts as my weapon. And and I won't have it.
That's my fucking case.
I will not stand for this shit. And he also has a video he uploaded, and It's pretty well edited. So this is where the mystery really starts to ensue, because it could have been pretty much anyone in the beginning, but now it becomes, who do I know who knows how to edit videos with some competency?
And is that dedicated to fucking messing with you?
Who is that dedicated to the bit? And the answer is fucking Julian. You are right about that. But he didn't have the channel on his phone.
That's true.
I don't believe he has a computer to edit on or to do that shit with. He could do it on his phone, not to say that, but and I don't know. I can usually kind of read when he's lying, and it didn't really seem like he was. I don't know. I mean, he's the most likely culprit of people we know, for sure.
Yeah.
But part of me almost thinks it's someone I barely know or don't know at all. Which would be fucking honestly cool if it was, but
that would be insane, dude. Imagine the reveal.
yeah, it's just some neckbeard. He's 25.
It's fucking Ethan Bigelow or some shit.
It's bald ass's mom.
Lori
Boulder Dash.
She gave me the sap, by the way. It's a very nice sap.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate it.
Shout out to the Boldest family. Unironic, complete, dead serious. Some of the kindest people I have ever met in my
really
entire life. For real, the nicest parents ever. So fucking nice. And they gave Jeremy this hat who was owned by who was it owned by?
It was a war collector neighbor that they lived next to. And I got it for free, man. This is the real deal.
Yeah.
It's a pilot's helmet from the First World War, I think, or the Second. I can't remember.
How did you find that out? Did she tell you?
Yeah, she told me everything.
That's fucking sick. Also, if you didn't notice, Jeremy's rocking the OG
The original
Pimp My
fit.
Jeremy fit.
Yeah.
Dripped to the motherfucking toe zizzles.
I came prepared.
He always comes prepared, baby. Don't forget it.
Man with a plan.
He's a man with the plan. Okay. That's a good transition into girls.
Right.
So, getting back into the actual topic of this video, now that we talked for an hour about conspiracy theories and shit, let's talk about your progression with the female species. Because as I think is made pretty clear in the beginning, we were trying to turn this guy into a fuckboy. I mean, we were really pushing that, trying to get this guy to just fuck some bitches. And, as I've gotten to actually know the guy over time, I recognize that is not his motivation at all. And I admire that a lot. I mean, the time I am in my life, that is also not at all what I'm motivated by, because I have a dedicated relationship, and having been in one, I now recognize that's so much more valuable than the lifestyle we were trying to push him towards before. So, as entertaining as it would be to see this guy just go pull a bunch of bitches for a video, it's not actually beneficial.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so we lost the camera for the last 30 fucking minutes, but we're just going to hop back into it from where we were.
Fuck.
And you could hear us, so don't be a little bitch. Don't be a little zoomer who can't take not seeing the people while they talk, okay? Pretend like it's the radio or something.
We're
and
back,
you're we're back in action.
We're back in air.
Live. We'll do it live. Okay. Anyways. What were we talking about? Girls.
Yeah, right.
Jeremy doesn't want to fuck random bitches.
The thing is, I had this realization not that long ago. It's more like, I've always felt this way, but I didn't know how to put it into words. And it's like, I don't really want to fuck girls. I just want to wife someone up, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you should be looking at it for sure.
There's just no point to it, I guess.
Yeah. Dude, it's honestly, it's crazy because I had the right values when I was probably 10 to 12, and then the internet slowly corrupted me until I just became a totally different person.
Yeah, I was the same way too. I told myself I would never do any fucking drugs. I would never drink, bro.
Yeah.
And
me
now
too.
I'm saying the same stuff now, but for a year. Mm-hmm. A year, man, I was a different person. And I'm finally back.
Right. Yeah, same for me. It was about a 2-year period for me where my values were just totally out of fucking whack. And I'm glad I got back on track. But as far as girls go, I will say, Jeremy has made progress, legitimately, just in his ability to interact with girls. He's got female friends now, which is
That's
a very underrated aspect of learning
helped a
to
lot,
talk to
yeah.
girls.
because you don't understand what a girl's thinking, I guess, and you don't really understand.
I think the biggest thing is that you have this
Yeah.
idea when you're young that girls are kind of separate from guys in a way. Like, the way
Yeah,
you
it really
interact
helps
has
me
to be different.
Understand, like, they're just like you and me, I guess.
Yep. But Jeremy, I don't know. Okay, I'll be honest. I don't know if you have game yet, but
No,
you've got confidence now.
I definitely don't know. I don't know how to text girls or like talk to them, but
I'm telling you,
I know how to like.
texting, don't even do it. Literally don't do
I
it.
don't know about that. I mean, like,
I do. You can drive, motherfucker. There's no reason you need to text people.
I'll drive and pick them up to like.
That's
start off.
that's the only reason you need to text someone is to say, "Yo, I'm gonna come pick you up." I'm telling you right now, girls will be so much more attracted to you if you're that direct. And if you're trying to get to know someone, you can text them, but like, don't initiate it through text. Initiate everything in person, and then maybe there's something later to be said or talked about or whatever. That's valid, but don't be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Text.
No, I don't do that.
Okay, good.
But it's more like it helps break ice, I guess.
Yeah.
At least for me, and I'm not like very comfortable around new people that much. Yeah.
I mean, I totally understand. I say these things, and yeah, I mean,
Everyone does them.
yeah. I mean, we all are socially anxious nowadays, and it's difficult to initiate things. But your ultimate goal should be to completely cut out texting. If you're going to talk on the phone, call them.
I think that's valid.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's normal. I'm not saying like you're weird for it. Everyone fucking does it, obviously. But just don't fall into the trap where you have a digital girlfriend. Because so many fucking young dudes do that shit. It's so odd and unhealthy. Have you known motherfuckers who are like that? Who it's like they have a girlfriend and they talk like 90% of the time over like Snapchat or FaceTime?
Sort of. Like they don't really talk about it is the thing, and you like don't even know what's going on because you don't see them.
Yeah, it'll be like oh yeah, those two are dating. And we're like, what? I've literally never seen them together ever. It is like, they talk all the time, bro. What do you mean? Fucking people, fucking youngins, fucking zoomers.
Come on, you're better than that.
I feel like a cornball because I'm one of those. I've turned into one of those kids who's like, I was born in the wrong generation. But the truth is, our entire generation was born in the wrong generation. This is the wrong generation. This is the one.
This
I feel
generation is like corrupted.
Yeah.
I guess.
This is the age of Satan that we were born into. But at the same time, I feel like this is the time where the stakes are so much higher in a way because everything's so fucked that if you are able to follow the right path, like, it has even more impact than any time ever before. Do you agree with that?
I kind of zoned out for a second. I'm sorry, dude.
I was just saying, I think like spiritual awareness and like walking God's path and being as righteous as you can is more important now than it ever has been because the influence that you could possibly have could make more impact than almost in any period ever, I feel like. Not even because what's happening in front of us is so horrible, but it's what's behind us. It's what we can't see.
Everyone is so... They're so... I just had the word for it, too.
Well, describe what you mean, and maybe you'll think of the word.
Like, lost, I guess. Like, they need guidance, I should say.
Was it misguided? Was that
misguided, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like basically the entire youth needs a role model, I guess. Like, a proper one, not like celebrities or
exactly. That's
politicians
why...
or basically anyone. Even our community leaders, like, our teachers are fucking pussies, to be honest.
Teachers? Okay. There have been a few teachers who I legitimately respect as
Maybe
people.
like 3 or 4.
Yeah. But the majority of teachers are such fucking clowns, and the fact that they hold the weight of the entire youth in their hands is terrifying, dude. They're degenerate losers who probably cheated their way through college while they fucking smoked their brains out the entire time. And now they're here fucking miserable as all hell, trying to assert what little fucking authority they have in their life over the impressionable youth. And it's just gross. But that's always been a thing. Since the beginning of our school system, that's how it's been.
I feel like it's gotten worse, though, because they've gotten, like, very unprofessional about it.
It's because everyone has become more of a loser as time has gone on. I think that's all it is. Like, anywhere you look, everyone's more of a loser now. And it's no different for teachers. But
we're all poor now. We're all, like, dirt poor.
I don't know about poor. I mean, right now... Oh, this is something I was thinking about earlier. I forgot to say it. As bad as the economic period is right now, this is like some of the most opportunity ever.
It's
like,
gonna get a lot worse. I'll just say that.
Yeah, maybe. It has to go up eventually because I don't know about you, but I don't think the stock market is as organically. I think it happens on purpose.
No, they're definitely manipulating.
Yeah, and I don't think they would let it get too bad because. Whenever shit gets too bad, that's when the riots start popping up, and the shit starts popping off, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's good again. What happened? Oh,
because
we're all
the chaos
happy.
is like they can't control that
Right.
like they can.
Right. So as soon as shit starts to pop off, you'll see another rise. I bet.
As long as they have their food and their bedding, they can be happy as a bird, I guess.
Yep. Right now is the time when you have the most power as an employee, and if you don't have a job right now, go fucking apply for a job because you're going to get one.
That's true.
Literally
You have
zero
no
chance you
excuse.
don't.
You
Even
have
if you're
no
a convict, bro, you're probably going to get a fucking job. Everyone needs help right now. Since COVID, literally every single business
And you
ever
have so
is
much power,
understaffed.
You have
Yeah.
so much power as a worker, and you can get away with so much more right now.
Yeah, you don't even have to do your
It's
job, bro. Literally just show up and you're good.
And like, do like the bare minimum,
Yeah.
which is a very low bar.
For majority of employers right now, the bare minimum is show up. Literally, dude. Like, I knew people at Wegmans who literally, I never saw them work hard, like even slightly hard. There was one dude who literally he would go inside like every 10 minutes when we were pulling carts, and he would be in there for like an hour. He'd come back for 5 minutes, and he would literally walk with the whole group and push like one cart while everyone else has a stack of like 20 behind him. And, you know, he didn't get treated well by the company because they knew he was a slacker, but they couldn't afford to fire him. So he was just there. And that's the case at like every job. So even if you are the least hardworking person on the planet, if you're unemployed, quit being a fucking loser, dude. Unless you're disabled, in which case, you know, get on disability or whatever.
Then you're valid, bro.
Yeah, you're valid. You're good.
So like mental health I feel like it's a very profit driven industry. Like none of the psychiatrists or doctors are there to actually like help you. They're just there to, I feel like there's a lot of misdiagnosis just so they can sell you pills and drugs. And they mark it up so insanely and it doesn't even help.
I also think that the industry is aware. They're first of all, they're aware of why everyone is depressed, and it's because they're on drugs and they're on their phone all the time.
It's a very unnatural way of living.
Yeah, and that is what's causing the majority of these mental health problems. And yet, they want to just tell you need therapy. It's because your pee-pee got touched when you were a baby and you repressed the memory. No, dude, it's not what it is. Even if you have been through some serious shit, and maybe you do need therapy. I hate this idea that's being spread. Everyone on the planet can benefit from going to therapy. Maybe you could benefit in some way if you're such a lonely fuck that you have no one to talk to. If that is the case, I'm sorry. That's a hard thing to go through. Maybe you need therapy. The majority of people, you can just talk to people. You know, that's what community is for. It's to have people who you can speak to and get things off your chest. You don't need a fucking stranger to sit you down on a couch and be like, talk to me about your problems. All right, all you need is religion and fucking good friends. That is.
And I feel like that's going to be very unpopular, even with some of our audience, but it's honestly pretty true.
Suck on it.
I was reading this article in Psychology today, actually. And it was, as I was reading it, I just was learning how fucking bullshit the entire industry was. It was so fucking stupid.
What were they about mental health?
Yeah, it was about mental illness actually, and talking about how
what?
man,
But yeah, I think people get very offended when we talk about mental health because people perpetuate the idea that mental illness is fake. I'm not saying that mental illness doesn't exist. I'm just saying that
overdiagnosed.
yeah, and it's not. Oftentimes, it's not. It's just the chemical imbalance in your brain, bro. It's just an illness, bro.
And
it's
it was
like
talking about how it took like 2 weeks for actual pills to take effect, and it didn't even like really do anything.
yeah.
It's not due to chemical imbalances. It's due to our environment, like
Well,
all of mental illness. And
Well,
that
no, it is due to a chemical imbalance, but there is a real world reason for that chemical imbalance. It's not just a random thing that happened.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Depression is something that exploded in recent years because it's not because depression doesn't exist. It's because we're living in a world where that kind of illness is basically promoted, I guess.
It's because it's obvious that would happen when you've taken away every element of what it means to be a human. You know, using your body all day long and keeping yourself in shape should not be a chore. It's supposed to be built into your life. What?
Fitness is like the best psychologist I know, dude.
Oh yeah.
Fitness is way better than any psychologist.
Yep.
And I know that's also going to be like a very disagreeable thing, but personally it really motivates you to build discipline. And
It's factual, dude. I mean, I've heard a lot of gym bros say that. It's like, it's the truth. I mean, that is
sad, but
especially for men. That's a huge thing with men is that huge reason you feel so shitty is because you look like a marshmallow and you're supposed to look like Hercules, bro.
you're not living the way you should be.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be using your body, and you're not.
Yep.
And that's like really draining your natural state of spiritualness, I guess.
Yep. And it's not even about how you look. I use that as an example, but it's not because you look ugly. It's because
your confidence from that is like
I don't think your confidence should even come from what you look like, but it's more about physical ability. Like, as a man, you're kind of told, like, you're supposed to be able to protect people, you're supposed to be there for people. And when you look at yourself and you see a fucking lump of fucking lard, you're like, what am I going to do if someone breaks into my house and tries to, like, kill my daughter or something? I'm going to get fucked. You know? I feel like that's where the confidence comes from, is knowing that even if I never do it, even if I never have a reason to, I have the ability to fuck someone up given the necessity to. I feel like that's a big part of why fitness brings confidence.
yeah.
Because for someone,
right too, dieting like really helps with it.
And that has to do with directly the chemicals in your brain. Like eating all this fucking processed shit seriously fucks with your dopamine receptors. That's what it all boils down to, is just the flooding of dopamine. Yeah, that too. That red meat, boy. You gotta eat that steak. You gotta get yourself some steak.
I just bought some more chicken breast.
Good.
Broccoli and rice. I'm gonna eat it all in like 3 days and then buy some more.
Good. Solid. This guy's on his shit. I'm very proud of the young man.
I've gained like 20 pounds, 25 pounds in like the past 2 months.
He's been motivating me in the gym, dude. He's been getting my ass to go to the gym when I'm slacking.
You're gonna be a fucking monster if you get like huge muscles. You tear through people like fucking Kratos, man.
Like fucking Kratos, dude. I should shave my head again and fucking
Like
paint my face.
Beard.
Yeah. Oh, I'm already working on the beard. I don't know if you can see it. It's coming in ginger, dude. That's not what I was expecting my beard to look like, but
you should
fuck
like get like a reverse mullet on your beard.
On my beard?
I feel like that'd be really cool.
What would that even look like? How can you do that? What? You're talking about just like shave my chin and leave this? Is that what you mean?
No, like grow out the front and then like have a really short back.
Back of a
dude.
beard?
Yes,
like
dude.
this?
Yeah, dude. Have it stay there, but have it like really short.
How the fuck is that a reverse mullet, dude?
I don't know, dude. It's like a reverse mullet or some shit.
What I think
That's
I'm
what I
gonna
saw
do
on
is just have like almost like an Abraham Lincoln beard, except not long. It'll be like pretty tight to my face. I'll shave the stash and the neck. I hate having hair here, dude. It feels so disgusting. It's awful.
It's not that bad.
Do you get a lot of hair on your neck?
No.
So I thought it fucking itches like a bitch. End up with a rash here and all sorts of shit. That could be a result of shaving. That's another thing I've realized is shaving is so unnatural, dude. It fucks with your body bad. I don't know how girls are capable of shaving their whole body without having a problem. Because when I was like shaving my pubes on a regular basis, I would start getting gnarly rashes. It looked like I was fucking infested with some sort of plague of some sort. And I was concerned. I was like, dude, do I have something going on? I stopped shaving and it went away in like a week.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like natural with my pubes. I just let them grow out.
I'll give him a trim once in a while, but I don't, becoming more of a naturalist, you know? No shampoo. Actually, I actually use it like every like week.
I used to for me it's conditioner. I never use conditioner. I use shampoo like maybe once every couple of days, but it's like a small.
Yeah,
amount.
dude. There's so many chemicals they tell you need, and it's like, what were the motherfuckers doing before this shit existed? Were they just their hair was falling out of their head? It's like, no, dude. You don't need all these fucking compounds to keep yourself healthy.
Our teeth, too, like, we didn't need to brush back in the Paleolithic period because we were eating, like, actual natural and healthy foods.
Yeah, it's literally just because of sugar. That's the only reason. And it's in everything. Anyways, I think we've rambled long enough. Oh, seed oil, yeah. That's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down. If you aren't already aware of seed oils, just give it a Google. Just look it up, dude. And, I guarantee it'll haunt your brain for a little bit.